And at 200 Tyndall, is that first time you all really laid eyes on Zach Hughes?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you able to seize his phone?
We did.
Okay. And what do you do when you seize these phones? I know there's multiple phones. For example, you obviously seized and took the victim's phone.
Yes, sir.
Christina Parcells.
Yes, sir.
So with Zach Hughes' phone, what do you do with it?
We take it and we get a search warrant for it, and we send it to our unit that does data extractions on cell phones, and they get as much information off of that cell phone as they can.
And now, once those downloads are produced and put in that, I think Jim Perry talked about Cellbrite Reader, and I think we spent a lot of time looking at Cellbrite Reader just a moment ago. Do you review that with the experts on the phone side, or y'all coordinate with that information that you derive from that phone?
Yes, sir. We review it. I'll review it on my own. I'll review it with them because they're more familiar with that process. So we do it together.
Okay. And what are you looking for inside those phones?
Looking for anything from pictures to location data to phone calls. We look through the address book, messages, anything that we can get out of that phone is what we're looking through.
All right. And on Zach Hughes' phone, we've heard some testimony to it. Were you able to locate WhatsApp messages?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall sort of the difficulty in those WhatsApp messages that you had in your investigation?
Yes, sir.
Tell this jury about that.
So those WhatsApp messages, when they were recovered from Zach Hughes' cell phone, when we got them, they were in a scrambled state. The words weren't in order how they should be. It made no sense. And the reason for that is when a WhatsApp is deleted from a device and then recovered using what they use to do the forensic download of the phone, when they're recovered, they're in a scrambled state.
And now in WhatsApp, if we communicate with each other on my phone to your phone in WhatsApp, is there any way to get that information from the WhatsApp corporate office?
No, WhatsApp is encrypted end to end. We'll send a search warrant to WhatsApp, and there's nothing they can give us as far as the meat and potatoes of these conversations. What they'll give us is the account information of each number, of each WhatsApp number, and that's basically it.
And did you in fact send a search warrant for WhatsApp?
We did.
And did you get any of these messages from WhatsApp?
No, sir.
Now, did you review all of those WhatsApps?
Yes, sir.
And about how many WhatsApps do you think you reviewed?
It was a lot, hundreds and hundreds.
Was it enough to fill a thick binder?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you went through all of those?
Yes, sir.
And in those WhatsApps, when you're reading the messages, are the words in a coherent order, or do you have to kind of analyze what they are?
I have to analyze what they are.
Okay. And did you analyze what they are in relation to the facts that of this investigation?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you able to pull relevant WhatsApp messages that you believe to be relevant to this investigation?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you what's already been into evidence, State's Exhibit 173. So what is State's Exhibit 173?
This is the first page of the report that was extracted from Zach Hughes' cell phone, and it shows a WhatsApp conversation, and this conversation is between Zach Hughes and John Mello.
And so would this be the first WhatsApp communication between those two individuals?
Yes.
That you recovered?
That we recovered, yes, sir.
All right. And what's the date of that?
December 7th of 2020.
Is that October 7th?
I'm sorry, October 7th, 2020.
I'll try. There.
Yes.
And so it says instant messages, and up there, what's that number right there?
1,769.
And what does this say right here?
That says scrambled.
And is this date accurate right here? I mean, the time in which it was sent accurate?
Yes, sir.
How do you know that?
I know that when Cellbrite provides the report, they automatically adjust the time to make it correct.
So it's in Eastern Standard
They
Time.
go from, they convert it, I guess is a better way to put it, convert it from UTC to Eastern Standard Time.
All right, and so this first message from Zach, and I'm assuming that's Zach up there.
Yes, this report, it pulled a picture of Zach Hughes, and also when we got the return back from WhatsApp, it did give us that picture as his profile picture. It's his picture. It has his telephone number that ends in 0020. Says Zachary Hughes owner.
And so what is this first message on October 7th, 2020 at 11:40 a.m.?
It says, "It's John Zach."
So when we're talking about scrambled, is this an easy sort of example of the scramble?
Yes, sir. I feel confident I could unscramble that.
So what do you think? What would you derive from that as far as your investigation?
Well, knowing that this text is from John Mello, because it has right here his number at whatsapp.net and says John Mello. We know that's his number because that number was in his email signature from the Google emails that we sent. So I know it says Zach. I know it says Zach. It's John.
And you also know that. Do you know that Zach spells his name Z-A-C-K?
I do know that. I know that some documents were located in his room at 200 Tyndall, and that's how his name was spelled on it.
And then this would be a response right there. And so, again, it says, what does this say?
It says scrambled.
All right, and this little dot there?
So that little red, it's an X. I'm not sure if you could see it, but it's an X, and that's on all of these messages from both parties. That means that this was a deleted WhatsApp that was recovered.
And so, who was the response from?
The response is from Zachary Hughes, and I know that because it has Zachary Hughes' phone number, ends in 0020.
And he's in green, is that correct?
Yes, sir. On all of these messages that you will see, the ones on the left in blue are all from John Mello. The ones on the right in green are all from Zachary Hughes.
All right, and so what does this message say?
I'm going to read it as is. It reads, "Is on it other the my man how side."
And
I interpret.
in your interpretation of that, this is your interpretation in relation to your investigation, correct?
Yes, sir. I interpret that as how's it going on the other side, something to that extent, and I believe I know that because I know that at this time Mr. Mello was on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in Italy. Mr. Hughes was in the United States.
All right, I'm going to show you some more WhatsApps, and we'll go through them the best we can. I'm going to show you States Exhibit 183. Show you States Exhibit 183. See if you recognize that.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the street what that is?
This is a printout of some more WhatsApp messages between John Mello and Zach Hughes from April the 16th of 2021 to April the 17th of 2021.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 183 into evidence. Without objection. Without objection. All right, you said the dates are April 16th, 2021. Put us in context of what's going on in this particular case in April of 2021.
If you recall, April of 2021 is when Christina was able to go to Italy and bring Ida back to the United States, to South Carolina.
All right. So there is the first message, and it's in blue. So who's it from?
This is from John Mello.
All right, and what does that message say?
Up in WhatsApp, you was setting sorry.
In relation to this investigation, do you have any significant interpretation of that?
It says WhatsApp in there.
WhatsApp. So you derive. It's talking about WhatsApp.
It's talking about this application.
All right. And then the next one is, what's the date of that one?
The date is 4/17, April 17th, 2021.
At what time?
It's at 6:55 a.m.
And?
This is from John Mello. It says, secret phone number got I dude private Christina's.
All right. So how did you interpret that in relation to this investigation?
I interpret that as, dude, I've got Christina's private number.
Okay. And then what looks like 2 minutes later, what's the date on that?
The same date, April 17th, 21 at 6:57 a.m.
All right. And what does that one say?
This is a message from John Mello. It says, harass shit of her 5142. We can the 864 out 483.
So how did you interpret that in relation to this case?
I believe he's providing Christina's phone number, which I know ends in 5142. He's saying, harass the shit out of her.
Back to the top. What is that first message there?
This is a message from John Mello on April 17th of 21 at 8:33 a.m. He sends a JPEG image. You can't tell, you don't know what the image is. It didn't recover the image, only that an image was sent.
All right, so why can't you recover the images?
Because it's encrypted. The fact that it was encrypted and the fact that it was deleted from his phone, the images weren't able to be recovered.
The next one?
The next one's from John Mello, same date at 8:33 a.m. It says, email please to this me photo.
And Zach Hughes' response?
Excellent, haha.
Now you don't know what that photo is.
No, sir.
Do you know when John Mello emailed Zach Hughes photos of Christina Parcell with no clothes on? We've looked at them all morning.
I know it was around this time. I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was around this time.
What about May, middle of May?
Yes, sir.
Sound right? All right. Go back to the top.
This is a message from Zach Hughes to John Mello. The same date at 8:37, just did. He, right after that, says, of her, photo great. Great photo of her is how I see that. John Mello, just shortly after, responds with thanks. And then I-bar got a. I don't have an interpretation for that. This is also on April 17th of 21 at 8:38. Zach Hughes messages, let's talk later, next hour's teaching, I'm the 6'4" but. I translate that as, let's talk later, I'm teaching. He's busy teaching something, likely piano lessons or some type of musical lessons. He then states shortly after, you stop thinking, guys, been about none. And Mr. Mello responds with thanks, okay. And then thank you, brother. This message is from John Mello, April 17th of 21 at 8:39. It states, dollar burner phone, buy cheap, a store. I interpret that he's telling him to buy cheap burner phone from a store. He then states, haha, something else, no for. And then he states, message, ignore that last, shortly after. Then Mr. Mello again states, burner pay, get, will, I, a, but.
What do you interpret that as?
It looks like he's saying he'll pay for the burner phone.
What do people use a burner phone for?
A lot of people use, in my training experience, they use burner phones when they don't want, what's on their actual phone to come out. A lot of it's used in a lot of drug deals. It's just a cheap phone that people can get. They're not associated with that number, and they can toss it when they're finished with it.
All right. I'm gonna move on to another day. I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 184. Two States 184. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Are those the WhatsApp messages that we reviewed, that we've been discussing?
These are still the WhatsApp messages in this same report from May the 15th of 2021 to May the 20th of 2021.
All right, I'm going to show you the first one here. Who is this? Oh, sorry. State moves 184 to evidence. No objection. 184 comes under.
This is Mr. Mello. He sends another JPEG image to Zachary Hughes. Again, we don't know what the image is. But with that image, he sends a message, and it states, my Christina, I daughters present mother, JPEG, gentlemen and ladies, parcel. I interpret that as, ladies and gentlemen, I present Christina's mother.
And then, is there a second?
There's a second image. It's another unknown JPEG image.
And what about that one?
At 8:18 p.m., the message states, Warren Escort, Caroline, AKA Sweet. And that's relevant in this investigation because as you saw from some of the items that were in these packages that were mailed out, Caroline Warren's name, the name Caroline Warren was on there.
So those were the items that were in the packages.
Yes, sir.
Show you State's Exhibit 185. So you State's 185.
These are more of the WhatsApp messages between John Mello and Zachary Hughes. These are dated from May 23rd, 21 to July the 3rd of 2021.
State moves 185 into evidence. Without objection.
Objection.
And we'll start at the top with the date.
This is from Mr. Mello to Mr. Hughes on May 23rd, 2021 at 2:13 p.m. Just states no. The following message is on the following day, May 24th at 3:42 a.m. It states, Part V is writing its best. A few hours later at 8:15, Mello states, Listen, should make that you from today, Greenville, thinking I'm. And then a couple minutes later, he sends a message that says mail.
Why did that grab your attention?
Well, that grabbed my attention because he's talking about mailing things from the Greenville area. And I know that,
Potentially.
right, potentially. And I know that we've got these, I know about these letters that have been sent out. So it piqued my interest. Mello states on the same date at 8:17 a.m. an outside mailbox.
And then does Zach Hughes respond?
Yes, sir. Zach Hughes responds at 8:18 a.m., says, all right. He follows that up with a message, and it reads, I'm riding bike my way that. I interpret that as I'm riding my bike that way. And then right after that, he states, the message says, B want camera on truck. The truck won't be on camera.
And now more from John Mello.
John Mello at 8:19 a.m., still on the 24th of May. This message reads, Charlotte Post, be your day outs info flight mailed from in Wood, same mark, the it's Charlotte. I think you skipped over one. You come down a little bit. Then Mello states, puts Charlotte in you, puts you in Charlotte. Mr. Mello then states at 8:20 a.m., It says, and sunglasses, baseball, wear a hat. He's saying, wear a baseball hat and sunglasses.
Now, did you, in viewing Mr. Hughes' phone, were you able to determine if whether Mr. Hughes visited Mr. Mello?
Yes.
And what about time what date did he visit Mr. Mello?
It was in June, early June of 2021.
And how do you know that?
That is from just conversations that were pulled from messages from his cell phone.
Was there also a video on Zach's phone, Hughes, that you?
Yes,
looked at?
a video was pulled from Zach Hughes' cell phone, and it was a FaceTime. It was a recording of a FaceTime between John Mello and Aida Mello.
And who was doing the recording of the FaceTime?
I believe it was Zach Hughes that was doing the recording from his phone.
And who was he with in the recording?
John Mello and Zach Hughes were together.
And who was John Mello talking to?
John Mello's talking to Aida.
And about what time was that?
That was May 31st, 2021.
And was John Mello in Italy?
John Mello was in Italy. Therefore, Zach was in Italy.
All right. And then finally, they continued this conversation.
Yes, sir. They continue at 8:20 a.m. John Mello's, the message says, a misspelling of phone, lobby, your, into, or Poinsett, on, go, the hotel, upstairs, down, sit, and play. I believe he's saying go to the Poinsett Hotel and sit down upstairs and play, likely the piano, because that's what his background is in. At 8:21, still on May 24th, John Mello states nice. A minute later, it says, time you post downtown 27, he has even our postman, it made camera 2 gets by office if on stops thee. I know that he's talking about a postman and he's talking about a camera. He then states, from come it anywhere would. I look at that and see it could come from anywhere.
And then what does Zach Hughes say?
At 8:24 a.m., it states, bought gray baseball yesterday, a nondescript cap.
So as far as your investigation is concerned, how did you interpret that?
With these last few messages, they're obviously trying to conceal identity, trying to keep out of view of cameras that may be nearby.
And did Zach Hughes continue to respond?
At 8:24, it states from Zach Hughes, drop just my ride in a box, in an box, it, I'll, and somewhere outside bike.
So what is your interpretation of that?
He's talking about riding his bike somewhere and dropping something in a box outside.
And what does he say?
Then states, good point. Mr. Mello responds at 8:25. This message states, too hard there or find. I interpret that as they are hard to find, likely. Mr. Mello then states, office post throughs drive are at the they. Something about post office.
And these are all for Mr. Mello?
Yes, sir. We're still in blue. Mr. Mello at 8:26. This message says buying the U online or postage. I think he's saying, I think he's asking, are you buying the postage online? Then says, this message states, just that by UA, but B are heavy, will, Shramo, easy letters. And then stamp is the next message. The following message is 8:27 from Mr. Mello. And Staples postage, it can sell, I think, way.
Now, earlier Zach Hughes referred to riding a bike to drop it off.
Yes, sir.
Is that important in this case?
I think it's extremely important. We obviously saw video of our suspect leaving the scene on a bicycle. At 8:41 a.m., Zach Hughes, this message says, of I know one. Then the next message is good thought. John Mello responds with sets you getting R2. It looks like he's asking, are you getting 2 sets?
Zach Hughes says what?
Yes. Zach Hughes, we're at 9:04 a.m. now. This message says, you let know it was much how ow. Cash paying. And then first by IAU, updated thumb drive, go, have, I'll keep 2. John Mello responds with cool, okay.
Thumb drive?
Thumb drive sticks out, paying cash sticks out. Obviously, it's harder to track paying cash if you use a credit card, debit card.
All right, and what's the date of this?
We're May 24th of 21. This is at 9:07 a.m. It's the next message John Mello sends, and it says, to ruin going their weekend. Going to ruin their weekend.
Who do you think there is referring to?
I think there is referring to Miss Parcell and everybody that received those letters.
Zach's response? Zach Hughes' response?
Yes, sir. Same date, 7:17 p.m. This message, it reads, in hold on can I-5 talk. At 8:21 p.m., the message from Zach Hughes states, before Zoom, Stathicus, we if want, and thee can chat. Miller responds at 7:18 a.m. on the 26th at call 9:15. And we are at July the 3rd of 21. This is 1:09. Zach Hughes responds with, headed Marina, friends, I'm with to thee. John Mello responds at 1:09 p.m. on July the 3rd. 1 minute call.
Which is probably...
Call in 1 minute. This is at 1:45 p.m. from Zach to John. It reads, sounds is on post like low funds.
Now, do you see how he spells post?
Yes, sir.
I'm referring to States Exhibit 2. How is post spelled on this envelope on States Exhibit 2?
It's incorrectly spelled P-O-A-S-T.
And what was the other response?
From Zach, it states could from benefit as well, check blank A. Could benefit from a blank check, how I look at it.
All right, I'm gonna move on to October 12th. Some more WhatsApps. Show your state's Exhibit 186. These additional WhatsApps, just like the ones we were reviewing.
Yes, sir.
Start date on those.
Start date on this is October 12th, 2021.
State moves 186 into evidence. No objection.
Objection, 186 comes into evidence.
Starts there. All right, and that is John Mello in blue.
John Mellow's still in blue, and this first message is dated October 12th, 2021 at 8:58 p.m. It reads, her arms who chopped off.
And what do you think it referring to?
I think it should read, who chopped off her arms. I think he's referring to Christina Mello, or Christina Parcell.
Photo.
Yes,
Photo of Christina
a photo
Parcell.
of Christina Parcell.
All right, and then this next one.
Same date. No, I'm sorry. This is on October the 13th, 2021 at 10:06 a.m. Burden.
Sorry, is this Mello
This
sending this
is
message?
from John Mello to Zachary Hughes. Burden if way, but Aida, life, like family, finally, beg down case, am lawyer, love, more doomed, been a count think, than not listening is totally nothing, her it matter as I, 14 November, at would so leave, has me stake you to point, let have all even taking our due, close, stay, we, she, and us right of hate control, brother, no needs, was this can very far, your for come say with on thee. I don't know what it says. I know it's talking about a burden. I know that it mentions a lawyer. I know it mentions Aida.
And then what time does Zach respond on October 13th, 2021?
Zach Hughes responds at 11:36 a.m. on October 13th, 2021 with LOL.
And then again.
The next message right after, it reads, I know, brother.
Going to, what's the date?
We're still on October 13th, 21
At what time?
11:36 a.m.
And that's current time, that's local time, right?
That's local time. Zach Hughes' message states, let's talk in a bit. The following message, still on the 13th at 2:48 p.m. It reads, soon we'll working up later catch in week I'm never mind thee. John Miller responds on October 13th, 21 at 2:49 p.m. And it reads, asleep till fell I was 5-man Saudi Jup.
And then Zach Hughes responds.
at 2:50 p.m. No worries, man. Still on October 13th at 2:50, John Mello sends this message, and it reads, 3 now couldn't information sense thing after another. Thee are single bit I sleep today our raising. It's here at fees worried. Ain't building 1 weeks or not lawyer. I'm maintenance in cant of OTS about everything eat they'll my a last. And he follows that up a minute later with, and it reads, up be you or woke. Again, me night, GLSD,
Any significance?
It looks to be like it's talking about nighttime, woke me up, possibly. Zach Hughes responds at 2:51 p.m. and this message reads, just manager got well, LOL texted work at off the night. And then a minute later, Zach Hughes sends a message and it reads, chat let's in little a bit.
And then
October 13th, 2021 at 2:52 p.m., John Mello sends Zach Hughes a message, and it reads, that did research on music, how go?
that's October 13th, 2021.
Yes, sir.
And what did he respond?
At 2:53 p.m., the message reads, phone over, tell you good, the I'll.
And how do you interpret that?
Good, I'll tell you over the phone. And Mr. Mello responds with, cool.
Is that the last WhatsApp that was ever recovered?
Yes.
All right. And do you recall Investigator Perry's testimony about how long the conversation they had in the afternoon of the 13th?
I do.
How long was that?
I believe it was about 1 hour and 20 minutes.